Hey guys, I'm back from Disney World. What's going on? Yeah. Hey Rad, how you been? I've been doing swell. Huh, so I can see you two have been having fun since I've been gone. You know it! Right, Cone? Yeah. So, what's up with that banana thingy you got? Huh? Oh, this, yeah, check it out. It's a plushie from the new Disney movie, The Fruit Bowl, coming 2016. It's about an apple that has to make a journey to the other side of the kitchen to reclaim his lost seeds. And this is Barry the banana. But his name's Barry. Yeah, I know, right? You know, it's funny because he's a banana, but his name's Barry. Yeah, they turn it into a 2-hour-long running joke. It gets old pretty damn quickly, actually. Anyway, where's everyone else at? Wait, what? Oh yeah, rad teching, yeah, okay. Well, yeah, I had a poker game here a couple years back, days back, weeks, yeah, that's it, weeks back. And, yeah, you know, I won. I won the poker game. Beelzebub and Astaroth, they were cheating bitches, but I won. And then Rad Tekking got his lungs ripped out, and we had to burn his heart over the stake, and we all ate it. Oh my, that's so depressing. So that's what happened with that. As for the other guy, he ran off and chased his shadows somewhere. I don't know. He probably got killed by fucking direwolves or something. Probably. I don't even know. Ugh. So you know, I've had to do the review for the past few weeks, and honestly, I'm not used to being alone for so long, so I've been advancing a little bit into the drink. Alright, well, since you're pretty much plastered, I'm gonna go ahead and do the video. Is that cool? What? No, you can't come back here and just take my job. That's my job! Ugh. Saris is so fucking hot. She is. Yes, she is. I just want to motorboat those tits all night long. Room. Shambles. I may have to think about getting rid of that thing now that I actually put a little bit more of thought into it. Anyway, hey everyone, Law Checking here to review Bleach chapter number 652, titled, say it with me now, The Theater Suicide Scene. Whichever scene we're on, I don't know. I caught up on the chapters on my iPad while flying back. I honestly don't know where the hell we're at, really. I think there was something in there about a bird thing, and then Nemu got a fancy sword, and then something. I don't know. Okay, so the chapter begins with Nemu showing off her new Shikai, which I guess it's a Shikai. You know, it's weird because this Zanpakuto, Shinken Hakkoyken, works completely different from any other Zanpakuto that we've really seen. Just that, and just the fact that it's passed down through the lineage of the Issei family, that alone makes it completely different than any other Zanpakuto, because normally it's, you found an Asauchi, and then you pour your spiritual pressure into that, and it eventually becomes a Zanpakuto, and for whatever reason, I guess Nemu, and I guess the entire Issei family, we're gonna find out later in the chapter, whenever they have like a regular Asauchi that like Nimaya makes, it just doesn't accept their Ryatsu, or it rejects them, or whatever process, it just will not turn into their own Zanpakuto. And I guess so, I still want to know the backstory on that. Like, who originally had this sword? Like, was it, like, something the Soul King created in case another god, like, was rivaling his territory? You know, and he's, like, wanted to make sure someone could kill it, so he gave it to the Issei family and then, you know, passed it on, because the only other time that this is kind of sort of happened was with, actually, I have it right here. Suzumushi, yeah! Suzumushi, Kaname Tozen's Zanpakuto, was not originally his. It was his friend, who I kind of wish we would learn a little bit more about her, but yeah, we didn't really pan out on that either. Thanks, Kubo. But anyway, yeah, Suzumushi was originally owned as an Asauchi by Kaname's friend, and then she turned it into Suzumushi, and then she died, and then there was a scene where you just see her lying in the coffin, and Suzumushi was placed in the coffin, and Kaname sort of just, like, walked up to it and just basically grave robbed her. I mean, he didn't ask anybody, hey, is it cool if I take this sword, you know, this Zanpakuto that has unlocked secret powers that I can use? Okay, I'm just gonna take it. And he just, like, grabs it out of her coffin, and then he takes up the mantle of justice and became captain. So, I mean, that whole idea, like, remember this? Yeah, that whole part with the Shinigami dying with the Zanpakuto doesn't really hold much water now that you actually think about it, but we'll go into that a little bit later. Right now, she's striking her epic pose, which she may or may not be a ninja, I don't know. Nanao's been doing the really epic posing in the past couple chapters. Well, anyway, Lele's just looking on at this thing, and from his perspective, it's like he can barely even see Nanao. It's just like, it's so damn bright, and he's like, that's quite the tacky, shiny sword you have there. Dude, okay, you are like some kind of weird misshapen chimera, owl, dragon, snake creature. I really don't think you have the right to criticize other things' appearance in that situation. Well, anyway, he even says that he can't even see the blade. Of course, it doesn't have a blade, but he doesn't know that. He states that it's quite the eyesore. Now reiterates the ability of the sword that it's able to reflect the ability of the god it's facing off against. It is reflecting the light from your eyes. That means it is diffusing the light you are emanating. Okay, so basically, from the way Nanao is saying this, the light that is being reflected off Shinken Hakkoyken right now is like Lele's power. Like, without even attacking her, you know, it's diffusing his power already, which is one way of looking at it. But one thing people have been bringing up is basically something like, and this was brought up in the last review, it was like, wow, they're fighting against a creature that keeps calling himself God, and now they found a sword that is perfectly capable of taking on a god. In fact, it can only take on a god. It can't fight normal enemies. That's massively convenient. And it does say something for Kubo's writing when you first think about that, but then you start thinking about other stuff, like, wait a second, Shinigami are also gods too, right? I mean, that's the name Shinigami. It literally translates to God of Death. So, I don't know if she was just being really poetic whenever she said, you know, this is a blade meant to face off against gods, when she was referring to actual gods, like on Yuha Soul King level, or if she was just referring to it can diffuse the power of any, you know, spiritual being that's on, like, a high enough level, like Shinigami, or maybe a Rancor. I don't know, okay? I mean, because it is massively convenient that, holy shit, you're a god. Oh, we have this sword perfectly suited for fighting against gods that was not even mentioned up till this point. So, you know, I'm going to go with that, you know, my first example, that it just diffuses, like, no matter what opponent she was fighting against, it would have had the same damn effect. Well, anyway, Lele doesn't really understand what she's saying, although it does not displease me to be referred to as a god. You're gonna die. Not in this chapter, but you're gonna die next chapter. I guarantee you that, buddy. Alright, well anyway, Nanao jumps toward him and tries to attack. Lele doesn't seem to be doing much at first. We get a flashback going on back to Nanao's mother to see what's up with that. And this is back at the time when Nanao was very young, and this is the point where Nanao's mother passed on Shinken Hakkoyken over to Shunsui to guard it. She states that this is something that will not respond except to those of the Issei house, so therefore, she believes it's the source of their whole Issei family curse, but it only affects those that are in the Issei family, so she thinks that giving it over to Shunsui, it's not like, hey, take this cursed sword that'll probably kill you. It's like, nah, it only affects those of our house, so you should probably be fine as long as you're just, like, hiding it, as long as you don't try to use it or anything, and Shunsui, you know, understands this. And then we have Nanao, who's listening in on this whole conversation between Shunsui and her mother, and she's sitting there behind the door just kind of staring off into space. You know, I think she's questioning something that a lot of manga children her age think about, and it's the weird phenomena that about 1/3 of their face is taken up by their eyes, you know? I wonder if she's contemplating that. But anyway, she remembers that this is the first time she noticed Shunsui, and the first thing that she noticed on him were his hairpins. and also the fact that, you know, he was wearing this very flamboyant sort of kimono. However, the kimono itself is something relatively common that you can get your hands on, so it wasn't something that really held a lot of notoriety in her eyes. It's just like, oh, the hairpins. That's what I really remember about this guy, because she was very clearly young. So then we flash forward a little bit to when she's in the Shinon Academy, the Academy for Soul Rapers, which she's in fairly young, and I don't want to say she's like as much of a genius as Hitsugaya, but she was accepted into the Academy relatively young. And this goes back even to like the Turn Back the Pendulum, when we see her in Squad 8, and she's just like a little kid, like she's about as old as she is here. Well, anyway, she overhears that the person that she met when she was a kid was actually a captain in the Gotei 13, in fact, one of the strongest captains, and she was a little shocked by that, and then she notices that his hairpins are the same as her mother's. So we skip forward a little bit more till we see the acceptance board of the divisions. I love this, because it's like the same way, if you watch a lot of anime, you know at this point, like, I'm assuming this is something that actually happens in Japan, but it's not over here. Like, how you find out in an anime, how if you've been accepted into this high school or college is, you know, you go up to this massive board, and you just have to look for your name on this board, and then depending on the anime you're watching, it's either, I got in, I'm awesome, and then I run into some busty chick, and we go off and have adventures. Or, if you're watching another kind of anime, it's, oh, damn, I didn't get into college. Oh, I ran into some busty chick. Now it's time to go off and to have adventures. If you can name both of those animes I was thinking of when I said that, then you get a cookie. But anyway, yeah, that's how you find out what division you're in. I mean, I guess there's really no other way you would figure out what division you're assigned to. I was just thinking it would be a little bit more, you know, I don't know, like here and now, here's a scroll and you open it. Oh, I've been assigned to the 8th Division. Epic. Return to Shunsui at once with this news. I don't know, but yeah, you just go up to the board and it just tells you which division you're assigned to. Particularly funny is the 2nd Division is listed here, and the 2nd Division is all just like assassins, you know? So I find it kind of weird, like, here's this elite squad full of nothing but assassins and people that are supposed to carry out the dark underworld deeds of the Soul Society. Here's all the people that are part of that division right here out in the open. Also, if you scroll down to the bottom of the 1st Division, what does that say? ATS Natsu? Natsu's a member of the 1st Division? Holy fuck! That is awesome! I mean, it makes sense when you think Yamamoto. Yeah, okay. Where the fuck was Natsu at during that entire fucking battle with the Shinigami and the Quincy, huh? Was he just sitting around doing nothing? God damn it, Natsu, it's time to get burned up! Get your ass in gear! Natsu versus Basby, how fucking epic would that have been? Fucking Natsu! Anyway, before we find out which division Nanau's been assigned to, as if we don't already know, we have a little bit of gossiping around the board. Yeah, but I'm in Squad 5 and the vice captain there is so dreamy. Huh, so it turns out teenage girls in the Soul Society are the same as teenage girls in real life. Wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they have cell phones. I wouldn't be surprised if there was like a Soul Society version of Twitter. That would actually be rather, interesting. Alright, well, of course, we find out that Nanau has been assigned to Squad 8, and then we get a look into her home life here. Of course, her mother died when she was fairly young. She was cared after by, like, a distant relative of the Issei family, an elderly couple that were really nice to her and treated her like her own daughter. So, hey, at least she had a happy childhood. I mean, except for her whole, you know, mother and possibly father dying, but aside from that, she had a nice childhood. I mean, hell, a lot of freaking depressing shit happens in these backstories. I'm just saying, it's cool that she at least had a pretty normal life for the most part. Well, anyway, now we get into a look into see how she did in the Shinon Academy, how, you know, she tried to make his Zanpakuto and it wouldn't accept her, and, however, this was the case. The reason she was accepted so young is because she had a really good aptitude for Keto, and it was because of that that she applied to the Keto Corps. Hey, the Keto Corps, remember them? Yeah, I guess we did get a mention of them. Are we ever gonna find out, like, how that works? Like, I'm just interested. I mean, it's supposed to be, like, this secret underground society, like the 2nd Division, that's supposed to completely dedicate their lives to the art of, like, the demonic ways of Keto. You know, I can imagine them down there, like, studying, like, these intricate spells for, like, decades in order to master them. It just seems like a really cool little subset of the Soul Society government that we just never really touch upon, you know? But, yeah, she tried to apply for them, but unfortunately she got assigned to Squad 8 instead, so you can probably figure that Shunsui was the one pulling the strings there and wanted her in his squad. Well, anyway, we get the introduction ceremony here. We see Shunsui. At this point, I would still say in terms of just the timeline, this is still before Turn Back the Pendulum. So, yeah, I mean, some people have been questioning what's with the timelines here, but so far we're still before the Turn Back the Pendulum series, because Nanao was already a member when that started. Well, anyway, he goes around and introduces himself to the new squad members. Of course, it's Shunsui, so he's like, oh, I'm very cordial to the women. Don't really give a fuck about the guys, though. You guys go off and do whatever. Just, don't get in don't cock block me. Don't cock block me, and don't talk to me when I'm drinking. Those are my only 2 rules for the guys. I don't care. Anyway, she noticed right away that it was the same guy that talked to her mother when she was younger. However, the Haori changed, or the kimono changed, and he removed his hairpins, but she knew it was him. Then we cut back to the present once more, where we see Nanao facing off against Lille. She's right about to cut him, and you'd think that it's going to be like an easy kill. You think because Lille's all going on is like he's spouting like, oh, that's just an insignificant blade. You can't possibly hurt me with that. You're just a vice captain, or you're just an aide. What could you possibly do? So you'd think that Nanao is just going to like shove it right up his freaking beak. But no, at the very last second, Lille does raise up his arm and manage to parry the blade. The blade, I guess I really shouldn't call it a blade because it doesn't have one. The Shinken Hakkoyken cuts right down through the arm, pretty much like butter, and it doesn't really sever the arm like, there's like, oh man, you cut off my arm and it's over there. The second that Shinken Hakkoyken sinked in, like the part of the arm that would have fallen off just gets completely like, like incinerated and like just atomized on the spot. And the shock is so strong it actually knocks Nanao back, and she notices, oh, he still managed to parry it. And Lille finally figures out what's going on. He's just kind of looking at his arm. He's not really responding like, oh fuck, that hurt, you bitch. He's just kind of like, huh, so that blade of yours was able to cut through my arm even though it really didn't have a blade. That's quite interesting there. Well, you had a chance to kill me, but you failed, so, spirit bomb, motherfucker! So he just raises up a finger and does, I guess not a spirit bomb, more of Frieza's, planet extinction attack. That's basically what he's going for here. You wasted your one opportunity to kill me! Huh, maybe I should have thought this through, the whole idea that, for number one, this is a sword that I have never used before in my entire life, and I decided to jump out of the shadow and try to attack him head-on without really any kind of battle plan. Not the smartest move for the Issei family. So before Nanao gets nuked, essentially, we cut back into the Kage Oni shadow dimension where Shunsui's still hiding out, and we have him just kind of still remembering certain key points in his life that we need to know about. The first of which is when he was really young, before it looks like he was even a captain. Ukitake's there too, and his hair looks way shorter, and they don't even have Captain Haori's on yet, so this probably happened a long-ass time ago. And Ukitake is basically relaying the information that Nanao's mother has in fact been executed by Central 46. And the reason that she was executed is because she lost the treasure, the Shinken Hakkoyken. So I guess they take this shit kind of seriously. It is like, oh, this really important artifact in the Soul Society history books that we might need in case a god shows up someday. Where's that at? I'm like, yeah, I lost it. Oh! Okay, well, to the Sokyoku with you, woman! I don't know, would you use oh man, that would have been awesome! Yeah, just pausing this video here to reaffirm to you all that Law Tekking believes the death of Nanao's mother is awesome. That would have been awesome. That would have tied everything back together, If, it's like, oh, you use the Sokyoku to kill Nanao's mother, and then it turns out, like, oh, that's the reason everyone knows about the Sokyoku and how they fear it, because, I think Yamamoto said it hadn't been used for thousands of years before Rukia's execution, but this is obviously at least, maybe I don't want to say 1,000 years ago, maybe like 800. I don't know. Shunsui looks pretty young here. It looks like in his early 20s, maybe late teens. I don't know. Well, anyway, that's just my personal thoughts on that. I mean, they executed her. I mean, they would have to kill her some way. I mean, that's only for Shinigami, but was she a Shinigami? She had a sword. Whatever. Anyway, so Ukitake relays this information to Shunsui, and Shunsui doesn't really... He's just kind of like, oh, well, that happened. And Ukitake's like, oh, I'm sorry, shouldn't I have said that? I should have kept that to myself. And Shunsui's like, nah, I guess it's better I hear it sooner than later. But he's obviously troubled by that because it was like someone who he looked up as his like big sister-in-law, and yeah, she's pretty, he's honestly kind of upset about it. So let me cut forward, I guess even more back in time to when his older brother, whose name we also don't know, was on his deathbed, and he entrusted him with the hairpins. So the hairpins that Shunsui wears are actually the hairpins that his brother had, but Nanao also said that the hairpins resembled the ones her mother wore. So maybe maybe as like a wedding gift, because Shunsui always wears 2 hairpins, so maybe it's like as a wedding gift, you know, the husband had one, and then the mother had one, and then they both died and entrusted both of them to Shunsui, and then that's why Shunsui wears both of them. Because it was actually said in a data book, like, the kimono and the obi sash that Shunsui wear, those are actually really cheap that you can buy at just like any store, but the hairpins are like really valuable. So it would make sense if they were like some sort of like wedding present to each other, and then they both died and both gave them to Shunsui. And Shunsui brings this up. He says, all those around me keep entrusting their most precious belongings to me, and then they pass away. Which, hey, that gives a lot of that gives a lot of stuff to like the stuff that he wears, you know, the kimono, that was not just some gaudy piece of clothing that he just bought just to impress the ladies. No, it was something that was given to him by his like sister-in-law when she died, and the hairpins by his brother, and possibly also Nanau's mother. So it's like the way he dresses is actually influenced by all the people he's met and that have died in his life that he really cared about. So that's some interesting information there. And Shunsui is just kind of sitting there, and he's just like, you know, I'm sorry for not like helping you out with this. I'll take the burden off your shoulders. So I guess he basically realizes like, hey, look, I'm going to protect Nanau for, you know, my brother's sake, for her mother's sake. I'm going to protect this girl because she's my lieutenant, or I'm going to die trying. That's what I basically get, because the chapter ends with a light from Lille's, you know, big, huge extinction attack, creating a light, of which creates a shadow behind Nanau to allow Shunsui to arrive right behind Nanau, and he grabs her arms and like guides her sword, and he's like, okay, let's go, Nanau-chan. So that's what I basically get. Like, if Shunsui is realizing, you know what, I'm not going to let any more people die, the next person that's going to die, it's going to be me, and I'm going to do it, you know, helping out Nanau as much as possible. That's where the chapter ends. So, you know, not really too much in advancing the battle itself. All that really happened there was that Nanau attacks Lille, he loses an arm, parries it, and then starts up an ultimate attack, and that's pretty much all that happened in terms of the battle. But in terms of the backstory, a lot of interesting shit here. So yeah, what do you guys think about, number one, the Zanpakuto itself? Where did it come from? Who gave it to her? What do you think about exactly in Shunsui's past, necessarily, where like the hairpins and everything fit in? The weird thing that troubles me, and I'll just bring this up, is that, okay, so when Nanau first meets Shunsui, when she's really young, when she's listening in on that conversation, she remembers the hairpins that he's wearing. But then later on, when she's in the Shio Academy, he's not wearing the hairpins anymore. And then now in the present, he is. So the only thing maybe I can think of is maybe he took the hairpins out because Nanau was in his squad, and if he left the hairpins in, Nanau would notice, oh shit, those are my mother's hairpins, and in order to keep it a secret, you know, because, you know, Nanau's mother didn't want her to know about all this shit, so in order to maybe keep it a secret, it's like, oh, I probably should take these out so she doesn't notice. But that's just one thing I got a little bit confused on. Next chapter, you know, Lille's probably going to do his ultimate nuke attack. They're going to dodge it somehow, and then they're going to have a little back and forth about how, oh, no, don't do it. Oh, yes, I have to. And then they attack, and maybe Lille gets probably the end of the last chapter. We're going to have, like, the final cut down for Lille, and then the chapter after that's going to be, like, the wrap up and see what's going on there. But whatever happens to Shunsui and Nanau in between, that's anyone's guess. Although I don't think Nanau is going to die here. Anyone else interested that the vice captains are getting more of kind of the spotlight this time around? I do enjoy it, like Nemu, for instance, with Mayuri's fight against Pernida. It's only that we didn't really know much more about them before this, and now we're just getting these big dumps of information. I wish that was maybe handled a little better. You know, I mean, we do all this shit with Mayuri, and then we don't find out about what happened to Nemu right before Nemu is about to be thrust into her most important battle of her life. And then same thing with Nanau here. We don't find out about Nanau's life, or, you know, you don't even have to touch upon it. You could have just had like a flashback like a couple chapters ago, you know, maybe when Nanau was made the vice captain of the first division, maybe a flashback just to see give us some foreshadowing for what's to come. Don't just wait until, okay, now it's time for this character to be thrust into the spotlight, so let's dump all the information we need now, not a moment before. But yeah, that's the end of the chapter, so I hope you guys enjoyed. This will be Law Tekking, signing out.